Thank you. To the governor, yes, Kenya is just one among many countries that are trying to meet the demand for labor out there. We've all talked about the bilateral labor agreement that we signed in Germany the other day. Maybe you can use the example of Germany. What's the government doing to ensure that we have more BLAs out there? Because we were told His Excellency the President is going out of his way to appeal for more. That's the only way we're going to build more numbers for Kenyans. So what's the government doing in the area of BLAs?
Excellent. So bilateral labor agreements are an important part, or MOUs on labor migration are an important part of this conversation around labor migration, right? You want your people to go to a country where you've already sat as two governments and agreed on certain modalities. You have understood their system, they have understood our system. We have said if Kenyans are in distress, they are to be treated this way. If a Kenyan dies while on contract in a particular country, they are to be repatriated in this manner. So those bilateral labor agreements are important. They're also important in certain ways because they open market access. Remember, most of these jobs are not government jobs. Most of these jobs are private sector jobs. But because the two governments have sat and agreed, then that sends a signal to private sector that you should come and recruit from here. A good example is Germany, as you have mentioned. Yes, we've just completed successfully negotiating that agreement between ourselves and Germany that will be signed in September. Now, while that agreement does not say that the government of Germany is going to give people 1,000 jobs or 2,000 jobs or whatever, it triggers private sector in Germany to say, let us go and recruit from Kenya as opposed to any other country, because there's already an understanding between our government and their government. That also means that we discuss with them how can they create capacity at the German embassy to ensure that visas are processed faster? Can they try to understand how our TVET system works versus how their own Volksschule and the other systems work, and how we can marry the two? Can we have exchange programs between this school and the... So the BLAs in and of themselves are useful, but what they do is that they allow us to build an ecosystem of things around them. But let me also say this, Ambassador Kabira, that there are certain countries where we have had Kenyans working for a long time without bilateral labor agreements. The US, for example, where we have the largest number of our diaspora, we do not have an agreement with the US. But Kenyans have moved there, they have studied, they have stayed, and so on. So there are more than one, there are different ways of doing this. You can do bilateral labor agreements, you can get into agreements with certain large companies and ask them to come and recruit in Kenya, or in many cases we have found Kenyans lead. So diaspora go first and establish a place, and then they start calling all of the Kenyans from back home to come and take up that space. Yeah.